So, good evening and a very warm welcome to the last session of the day, from hype to reality, about automated mobility and large-scale demonstration on automated mobility in Europe. So this is the last session of the day, and the only thing between you and dinner. And I will make sure that I will sharp 7:20 close the meeting. If you have any further questions, we can then discuss during dinner. My name is Arya Etemad. I'm with Volkswagen Group Innovation and have at the same time the honor to lead activities in the High Drive project. You have seen our nice Maserati outside. And this is a large-scale project that is running. You are also invited to the final event, which is in November in Brussels. So the approach for this session is very, very simple. Just one presentation. This is done by me, so it's easier for the other participation. And I have to tell you, I have a double role here. So I'm at the same time moderator and speaker. So I will certainly be the one that is speaking most of the time to fulfill both roles. So this is not be a surprise. But we have also some colleagues who want to support us for the discussion. So now I try just... Yes, with the presentation. Since I'm with Volkswagen, I have taken some Volkswagen pictures, but other colleagues from other OEMs would show similar approaches. In 2005, we have started with DARPA Challenge, where the first car to conclude and cross the finish line. So this is basically the newer or recent history of automated driving. I could, of course, go back to 1920, 1930 and tell you about how infrastructure should support the automated driving, but this is the new approach. So we try to bring more intelligence to the vehicle and just manage the driving task. So the approach was looking also into other activities. As you can see here, Cedric, for example, a kind of shuttle that should run in level 4. And in cities, we have been doing a lot of tests in the city of Hamburg. Those of you who have been in the 3 pilot final event could drive already with those electric Golfs in Hamburg. And the story is continuing. The recent one has been also shown in Brussels last year, so this is called Gen Urban. It has no steering wheels and is driving at the moment in the city of Wolfsburg. So if we look at the projects we had in the area of individual mobility, I'm proud to show you this project that have been increasing over the time, also the complexity and the number of people working in those projects. The last one, I said, this is High Drive running projects. Over 360 people are working in the projects, and we are covering a number of activities. So, but this is not the only type of project or domain that is running. So for shared mobility and public transport, we have been seeing projects starting with maybe City Mobile 1 and 2, and then now the one that is running at the moment, this is Ultimo, and you will see why I'm stressing those projects. Freight transport, that is the same with Companion, Ensemble, and then now Modi. You have seen the electric vehicle from DAF truck downstairs. This is a very beautiful one, which is equipped with many sensors and has amazing features. Now the idea was at the end of the day to conclude and prepare a project which is covering all the 3 domains. And this is the complexity that we are facing. So that is also something new for me and also for my team, who are really experienced and working in this area since 2001. So we have never had such an approach, trying to include everything in one project. So a bit details of our thinking and how we see the large-scale demonstration project is that we will have methods like field operational tests and pilots for different TRL levels, and looking into the 3 domains that I have introduced to you one by one, but having a big block, so I mean just in dimensions, this should be much larger than the others, is enhancing the technology, and this is a part that we will spend a lot of time and effort on. So if that was the presentation, this is nothing more to come. So, and I would like them to invite the panelists to join me on the stage. The first one is Andrea De Candido. He's a policy officer, CCAM at Directorate General for Research and Innovation. And Andrea has been also joining us during the high driver training workshop last year. He's not only on the technical and political side supporting, but also is very much interested to what we are doing. The second person is Lona Lervåg from ITS Norway. She's the vice coordinator of MODI project. As said, the truck is down there, and we will hear from her something about the project and the challenges they are facing. The next person is Christoph Rombout. He's the advisor for innovation within the Flemish Agency for Road and Traffic. He has been the organizer of the high-level dialogue. Yeah, Christoph, you are there. And last year, and let's see, he will for sure talk about his visions. Last one on the list is Lars Abler. Lars, where are you? Yes, here. Lars works for DB Regio, Deutsche Bahn, and is the coordinator of the Ultimo project. So now you see why I have been stressing the last project on the list. So last but not least, here on my list, not on the stage, but a very important person supporting this session is Margriet van Schrindel de Nooy. So Margriet is our rapporteur and just trying to take note what we are talking about. Maybe we just start with ladies first. Maybe Lona, about a short introduction of yourself and your project, and maybe the biggest challenge you think you have in your project.
Okay, thank you, Arja. Okay, so I'm Lone Lervåg from ITS Norway. I've been in this business for 25 years now, starting out with applied research on advanced driving assistance systems. I've been involved in several pilots with automated vehicles in public transport, and now I'm the vice coordinator of the MODI project, where we deal with automated freight transport. So MODI is about improving the European logistic chains by introducing automated freight vehicles. And we are not only addressing the vehicle technology, but we are addressing a full corridor from Rotterdam to Oslo, and also investigating how can the physical and digital infrastructure really support and enhance the performance of the automated vehicles. We're looking into regulatory aspects, and we're also developing business models for the use of CCAM in logistics. MODI is defined as a large-scale demo project, and that is not by the number of vehicles or kilometers to be driven, but it's because we address the entire logistic chain from terminal to terminal. We will focus on, or we will develop vehicles from DAF, from Volvo, and from Enride, and then we will select some specific use cases where we will demonstrate the automated driving in different parts of the logistic chain. One significant use case that I would like to mention is the cross-border use case between Sweden and Norway, because that's not only crossing the borders between two countries, but since Norway is not a member of the European Union yet, it's also the border between member states and not. And that means when we are crossing the border with a vehicle with no driver, no safety operator on board, we also need to deal with customs and integrate a digital process of custom clearance. So we have not chosen the easy way out. We have really complex use cases and will perform real-life demonstrations in kind of complex situations, driving on public roads and also dealing with terminal operations like gate access, automated loading, unloading, charging of the vehicles, and so on. And one significant challenge that might be specific for the logistic industry is that we do acknowledge that logistics is a promising business case for automated vehicles because they're already facing significant challenges of driver shortage and high demands for efficiency. So the business case is there. But what we see when we start developing these use cases is that we need to, for the technology to make sense business-wise, we need to innovate along the full value chain of logistics, because today the driver performs so many tasks beyond driving the vehicle. He deals with a lot of paperwork. He communicates about the traffic situation, estimated time of arrival, and all these operations while driving the vehicle. So for this technology to be financially viable within the logistics sector, we really need to digitalize the full working process of the driver.
Okay, thank you very much, Luna. So Lars, how about you? So, and your project's short introduction and maybe the biggest challenge.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Lars Abler. I'm project manager for autonomous driving at DB, and I'm the coordinator of the Ultimo project. Within Ultimo, our 23 partners are working on a common vision. That vision is the public transport of the next 10 to 15 years. We believe that by then we will see hundreds and even thousands of automated level 4 vehicles on the road in cities in Europe. Those vehicles will complement the existing public transport backbone, and will operate on demand. So you will be able to, just simply book your AV, and it will pick you up, for example, at home and bring you to the nearest bus station or the train station. In our project, we are not only focusing on the vehicle, but everything around it as well. So we're working on standardization and APIs and HD maps to make a fast integration into existing public transport fleets possible. We are working on, of course, security and safety aspects, not only the security of the vehicle, so that the vehicle is safe, but I, as a person, needs to feel safe in the vehicle, especially in shared rides. We have also two vehicles here at ISPRA, so you can already test some of our services, some of our in-vehicle services as well. And we have 3 test sites in Oslo, Norway, Herford in Germany, and Switzerland in Geneva. And on those 3 sites, we want to integrate at least 15 automated vehicles, level 4 vehicles, into the existing public transport. And the biggest challenge at the moment is that we as a PTO, we have only very limited access or no access to level 4 capable vehicles yet. So there's no European solution at the moment. And if you compare that, for example, to the US or China, where already big fleets of hundreds of driverless vehicles are on the road, I think that we are lagging here a bit behind those 2 players, for example.
Okay, we'll have a look together why maybe. Andrea, you have been supporting automated driving activities for quite some time, and I see you always at the CCAM meetings, and you are trying to develop a very, very good understanding of the technology aside, everything political stuff that is ongoing with regard to automated driving. What is then maybe a short introduction, and then what is your big challenge if it comes to automated driving on your side?
Thank you, Arya. Can I start by something that's not related to this?
Yes, please.
It's 6:30, and look how full this room is. Do you normally see rooms that are this full at this time of the evening? And actually, this is... No, actually, there's a trick to this. This is why we chose this site, because you have nowhere else to go. And this is a demonstration that it was a good choice. Yes, now, back to the topic here. Yes, we have a lot of expectations here. We believe in this transition towards automation as European Commission. And what do we want to see now? Throughout the years, we've been funding these larger scale projects, larger scale demonstrations, we've always called them like that have the purpose of bringing together the different technologies that had been maybe developed in more focused projects, and both at European and national level, because our ambition is always to bring together the European and national level. But now for what will happen in the future, and with this large-scale demonstration call that we will be publishing most probably in the 2026 work program, so for the project starting in 2027, is to accelerate. I think this has already been said quite a number of times throughout these couple of days of this event. We need now to move forward. We need to shift to a higher gear in terms, and this is why we, as Commission, would like this next wave of activities to be a demonstration not of the state of the art of the technologies and what the single technologies can allow, but a demonstration of deployed services. We want to see, because the project is not even starting tomorrow morning, it's starting in 2 years' time with vehicles that probably will be on the ground in 3 years' time. At that point, we want to see things really happening. We want to see vehicles in logistics, in public transportation, in passenger cars, of course, that are on the roads performing, delivering services. And this fully integrated in the overall functional context to which they belong. This, we want to see the vehicles deployed in these operational contexts in large scale. What does large scale mean? I have no clue. Meaning, today, I don't think anyone is able to say what we exactly mean with large scale. I know what I want to achieve through the large scale. It means achieving a tipping point beyond which then things happen without necessarily the support of public funding. Because through this, by reaching this tipping point, I hope we will have been able to generate a market in the EU in the different domains. I hope we will have been able to demonstrate the business case of deploying fleets of a certain size, be it in public transportation or logistics or whatever, and then things will simply be happening. But what size should these fleets have? So what is large scale is something that we will need to be carefully exploring and deciding upon before the large scale demonstration actually is kicked off.
Okay. Thank you, Andrea. I must admit that we agreed to have no prepared questions and pre-agreed answers and so on. So you are covering now basically my next question that you didn't know. So it is about your expectations. So we are accelerating on this. So Christoph, coming back to you, short introduction. Last year we have been with you during the high-level dialogue, which was very interesting and supportive, of course. Please.
Yes, thank you, Arja. Christoph Rombaat for the Flemish Agency for Roads and Traffic. So coming from Flanders. You know me for many years, Arja, so if you ask me what is your biggest challenge, you can see damn right, I will give you 2 or 3, pushing the envelope. So first of all, we have a Flemish task force on autonomous driving. So we are supporting test projects. We really want to get the wheels on the road. We recognize that it's important. It doesn't make sense that you are extremely stringent on evaluating the safety when you can test nothing. So we do acknowledge that we have to test on the roads and we have to be quite flexible. On the other hand, you have to find the balance. Is it safe and is it safe enough? That's certainly a challenge of mine. What I can say is that I can definitely see this acceleration that the Commission is talking about, that Andreas is talking about, because in the last year I can see that from having 1 to 2 projects running in parallel, we have many more in the pipeline. The market is starting to react, and this is happening on different fronts. And it's challenging to manage all those projects. Why is it challenging? Because on one hand, you have the really large projects like MODI, like Ultimo, like HiDrive, which are also Commission funded, therefore involving a lot of universities, doing evaluation, etc. But I also, if I look at the other end of the spectrum, have retail that wants to start testing. We have remote operations and spin-off companies and startups that want to test. So on one hand, I have multinational where I know hundreds of engineers are working on this in all the different aspects. And we have startups that also say we are, tell us whether we are mature enough to go and test. So luckily now we have a common evaluation framework. I see some people sitting there. One of my upcoming challenges that we are starting to debate now, okay, this framework is there. Let's now apply it. And how are we going to apply it to both ends of the spectrum? So the bigger projects, I think it's clear. I think it's written from within this context. And I know in the background was also playing with the team. We have to be able to apply this to these smaller test projects as well. How are we going to do that in reality? I don't know yet. Let's maybe meet up in 3, 6 or 9 months again to come up with a strategy. But I do think it's important that also for those smaller projects, we find a way to use common evaluation methodology. And then last, but maybe not least, also my neighbor here, Lauren, you talked about physical and digital infrastructure required. You will remember a debate we had in Aachen. I want to know, where do we put our money? Where do we invest in terms of required as a road operator, in terms of physical and digital infrastructure? And you will remember what you told me. 5 to 7 years ago, we spoke and you said, I need 2 high-quality lane markings for ELCAS. 3 to 5 years ago, you still needed 1 because the technology had improved. And now, with high-accuracy GPS, basically you need none. For me, it's clear that the requirement is going to come from digital infrastructure. But what exactly do we mean with that? We are deploying CITS in Flanders and across Europe. I think it's important to keep on doing that, not just for automation, but also the value it brings for human drivers. We already have technology to support the decrease in accidents. Will it be used for automation as well? I have heard CCAM Partnership President Armin saying, yes, this will be so. It would be great if we could indeed put this forward as a no-regret measure, because it will help me to secure in Flanders, in Belgium, the necessary investments to continue offering that digital backbone.
Yeah, I remember you wanted to become a digital infrastructure provider, so this is still on the list. I think everything is moving very fast. And one thing I have on my list, and I hope it will work, is including the national projects into the bigger one, that is the large-scale demonstration project. This is really a wish that I have personally have, so I'm running out of questions. So now I will then also utilize you so that you have some takeaways maybe and some questions that are answered. So we would like to really include everything in this large-scale project. I said 3 domains. This is very challenging and also new to us. We were a bit hesitating to go for that, but the Commission has kindly also provided for the preparation of the large-scale demonstration project proposal or just some room for a CSA, coordination and support action. This is what I believe. This is not a secret. This is under preparation, and I said one wish is just to include projects, national projects that are running in Sweden, in Germany for many 100 millions, and also in France. So we will just try to make best use of the effort and money that is spent not only by the European Commission but also by national governments. So now we have 3-4 groups here sitting around, so I could just nominate one from each group to ask a question, but I give you the floor. So I don't know if you had a microphone, and the first person who would like to ask a question, and Marjana is fast with microphone. Here, Marjana. So first row, Hamid. Yeah, you wanted to ask question. You said that.
I have actually 2 questions. The first one is actually, I wonder only why the rest, I mean, China and also United States, they have been developing the technology. We have focused on regulatory issues, demand on digital and physical infrastructure. We have been doing that for quite many years while they were really developing the technology, and they have deployed large scale of their vehicles. This is my first question. The second question is, within 3 years' time, Arya, you are very well, you have very good insights in OEMs. I wonder, are we going to see that OEM are selling, producing, manufacturing vehicles on level 1 and 2 still in 3 years' time from now? Or is it just something for the past?
No, maybe second question first, if you are asking me directly. Yeah, thank you, Hamid. Yes, for sure, I can guarantee you level 1, 2, 3, everything will be produced for many years still. So it is not that, just a difficulty I have or a conflict I see if we are having these kind of presentations is that everyone thinks automation means level 4 in the city and nothing else. And this is what I have some difficulties with. This is not the only thing. We are in the business of automation level 1, 2, and 3 for already ages. And I give you an example. In 2008, we have started the Euro FOT project, the first field operational test in Europe with 1,000 vehicles collecting 35 million kilometers of data. So at that time, Europe and US had the same number of road fatalities in 2008, around 35,000 each, so which is a huge number. Now, after, 17 years, we look at those numbers. US has, Jane is there, 40,000. Europe around 20,000. So half of it. So I'm not now saying everything is because the OEMs are selling level 1, level 2, and level 3, but it's about the road, about the education of our driver here, and so on. And this is where maintenance. Yes. Yeah, this is also one. And these are all results that will lead to such significant improvement. So this is something we shouldn't forget. So again, it is not about level 4 inside the city. And the first question, maybe now, yes, China, US, other regions have been faster, especially if we look into new tools like AI. And then the question is why? I think we can ask also our podium for our panelists for answers, but something that comes to my mind is that the data protection is very important, but AI is about data only. So if I can collect data that I can easily use for train my algorithm, then this race is already lost. So, and therefore I'm happy that we have, I don't know, Oyhana somewhere maybe, so from the ITINA project that we are having more or less a solution how to, oh yes, there. So a solution how to anonymize the data that we are capturing with the camera number plates, faces of the people and so on, and even to be able to use it for AI training. So this is coming now. So we have a little disadvantage. And the other one is that these permission procedures in Europe, so which is time consuming and difficult. So just to name two, that is coming to my mind. But I don't know, the panelists, Lars, you wanted to say something?
Yes, maybe just one comment for me. I would say that automated driving, it's only about, for me personally, about level 4. I mean, when we are able to reach that level, I think that level 2, level 3 is obsolete. So I think we should really need to focus on level 4 to have really driverless vehicles on the road, not only in cities, also of course in rural areas, also on the highways. And to the first question regarding the US and China, I think this is very well explained in the Draghi report. So in Europe, we don't have the big software companies, we don't have the big AI players like a Meta, like a Google, Alphabet, or in China, Baidu. And I think that it's often a misconception that we are talking about vehicles, yes, but it's about AI, it's about algorithms, and I think this is what we are lacking in Europe at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
I would rather say, rather than focusing on level 4, that in order to get the numbers down, the road fatalities, the heavy incidents, etc., down, yes, we definitely have to continue investing in the research, but what we have already today should be applied and brought to the road ASAP. Just like the seatbelt or the vehicle stability assist, there's gains to be made already today in level 2 systems. Some call them level 2+, but I think it's important that we reap the benefits of what we know already today, and then continue investing in L3 and L4. And sometimes in-house, in my agency, I have debates on how do you get those permits. And the last year, I've been making some bold statements to colleagues. Maybe I'm not so popular now with some people, but really saying, yes, we have to make sure it's safe. But mind you that as road authorities, our role is also there to, if we are too stringent to put wheels on the road, to implement systems, history will tell us that we might miss out on opportunities that decrease road fatalities today. So I think really we have to work in parallel on supporting human drivers with CITS, supporting with level 2 systems, as well as 3 and 4.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, just one of the ideas of the large-scale demonstration, but this is just my own, so not even just supported really by Volkswagen. I have not asked my managers. Is just to have a field operational test, as I said, inside the large-scale demonstration. And this is because I believe that data is the most important part, and we need just to do a huge data collection to catch up. So we can't just drive a few miles around the corner and saying, okay, that's enough of data that we have got. And what I need is, or I believe is really essential, is to go really for a huge data collection with several thousand vehicles and 1 year at least of driving, and then to be able to train, for example, the AI algorithm that you need. Andrea.
Yes, if I also may comment on the question that had posed, the considerations he made, which I agree upon. I think on one side, we need to be ambitious. So this cannot be only level 4, because I think for an OEM, which will continue, we will continue seeing privately owned cars for quite some time. They're not going to disappear, and I don't think there's any intention now to make them disappear. And I would not say that this is where we need to go. And for privately owned cars, I think level 3 is the big target in the next years, in the sense you will have certain areas where you can read your paper while you're on a highway and so on, and certain others where you will be doing the driving yourself. When we're speaking about logistics and when we're speaking about public transportation, I think the objective is clearly level 4 and should be only level 4. What is important for me is that we set a level of ambition that is sufficiently ambitious. While, of course, still being realistic, but it's got to be ambitious. We will use public funding to do something that would not, in any case, have happened without public funding support. So we strongly want that wherever we will be putting money will help in going that mile further than what have been already possible without the public funding. The advantage of the project at European level is working all together, so aggregating mass at European level in order not to have a fragmented, scattered approach, in order to work together in a pre-competitive environment, so to build those foundations upon which then the single industries and so on will be able then to put money themselves, of course, and to compete amongst each other. About what you were saying on China and US did not have to focus so much on regulation and they just went for the technologies and for deployment. Yes, but I don't think in the EU we should simply try to replicate what's happening in China or in the US. We've got a different setup. They're different. I'm not saying we are better. We are different in this. And we need to understand our difference. We need to look at the China and the US and Japan and many other places in order to get inspiration. But then we always need to tailor it to our reality, which is different. And of course, regulation as of today is a big obstacle. We're looking at European level to set out a procedure that can help in getting the permits fast. And possibly, I would hope that by when these projects will start, we will have something in place. I can't assure you that it will be there, but I can assure you that we'll do everything possible to make this happen. But then in the end, it also requires the agreement and the support and taking ownership from the side of the member states, because in the end it's about national regulations that need to be derogated in order to do the research, the testing on the ground. We need to adapt, we need to have in place, we need to build the market in the EU. The colleague from ASEA this morning was saying how today it's difficult for industry to generate a business case because there's no certitude or in terms of when it will be possible to really deploy automated vehicles in Europe because the national legislations are not ready to take them. This is where we would like to see is there a real commitment from the side of the member states to go in this direction? Because if there is, then we need not only to discuss we've got to adapt, we want to see national regulations that are adapted to the new requirements. And this has to happen as fast as possible. Because if we don't do this fast, we won't be generating the an environment for which it becomes interesting for industry to invest in order to sell a certain product. And we need to do this together, as Antoine's panel, I think, clearly pointed out. Because if each country starts working by itself and generates an environment that is different in terms of what you can deploy, then it will be a worse mess than what we have today without any regulation at all in place. And this is the biggest challenge that now we have. How to work on this and then get an agreement and a real commitment from the member states to adapt the regulations in a harmonized way and in a rapid way, because we are starting to lose time.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. The 3 project coordinators are next to you. They would be more than happy to see that, because I can report that we are using more or less efforts for a year to get a permission for testing on public roads. And this is, I believe, not really acceptable. But Lona, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on your discussion about regulatory fragmentation across the member states, because we actually do have a great example from the Modi project with the cross-border driving between Sweden and Norway. And it's complex. It's so much more complex than I knew when we started out with this use case, because it's not only about getting the testing permits for driving on public roads, but there's a whole lot of other regulatory aspects that also comes into play. But what we achieved in Modi is getting the regulatory authorities to the table from the start of the project. So they have been discussing with the OEMs and being part of the development of the use case. And the case, as it seems now, is that for this use case, the expectations and the processes between the Norwegian and Swedish regulatory authorities are aligned in a way that they have agreed that they will do a joint assessment of the application for driving on public roads. So the assessment will be done by one country, and then the result of the assessment will be valid in both countries. So of course we need to do specific risk analysis on the road stretch in each country, but all the other aspects concerning the technology and vehicles and all sort of details will be assessed jointly. And I think that's a tremendous achievement and a lot of credits to the regulatory authorities in these 2 countries.
So I'm happy to hear that. This is basically what we are doing with type approval. So you get the type approval in one country, you can drive in all the others. And the High Drive and our FAME project, they have been working on a code of practice for road testing, just trying really to formulate what should be taken into consideration that all member states could accept. I know the Commission is working on this, DG GROW, Maria Cristina, I think you are sitting there. Yes, hello. And I hope that we can accelerate on this, because that would be a huge help for us instead of going to each and every country. And sometimes you need even to register the vehicle again if you want to run it in another country. And this is not acceptable. I don't think we need just to spend our time there. So, again, the opportunity for you to ask questions. So, one question there.
Hi, I'm Ragnvik. I'm with the PTA in Oslo. We're part of the Ultimo project, and kudos to everything that all of the projects are doing. Really love the ambition. I'll try to define large scale the way we see it that would engage us. It's level 4, at least 100 vehicles, safety driver out, 80 kilometers an hour. That I can use to deliver a real service to the people of our region that they would pay me for. That would pave the way for a business case and everything we need. Where am I going to get those with those capabilities? Who's going to make that deal with me within 3 years? That's the question. For the panel, for the room. Anyone. I can't see that in Europe. Right now, if I have a blind spot, if it's somewhere, let me know, and I'd love to hear your perspectives on this as well. And I'd love to deliver on your ambition. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I think this is something we have been discussing among the OEMs, especially saying, okay, what is then the amount of effort you need to pay to get from one level to the other? This is definitely a lot. We are therefore saying this is a game changer. A game changer is not coming overnight. So you are just not creating from scratch a level 4 vehicle. And we had, you may remember also, we had, is it a kind of evolution or revolution? So I don't see the revolution is coming. So we are slowly going from 1 to 2 to 3 and then to 4, which is then the goal. So it is just, this exercise is not for fun. The question is then how long does it take? So of course, with new elements like AI and so on, we are trying to accelerate there. But what you are requesting at the same time, a type of safety that we need to ensure if we are selling those vehicles to you. And this is, I think, the major issue at the moment. So nobody will risk it, just selling those vehicles to you and then just damaging their reputation. But we are on the way to that one. But I see other OEMs are also sitting, or maybe you want to answer.
I need to reply to you. And I get your point. I still think 100 vehicles is in Oslo. If we were to cover, I don't know, the needs of Tokyo, it's probably going to be a bit more than 100 vehicles. If we were to have to cover the needs of, I don't know, Waterloo close to Brussels, you probably need 3 vehicles. Now, the issue is to understand in selecting the use case, which is sufficiently big or to be able to then have a sort of wave effect that demonstrates also for other cities across the EU that the business model and then pushes them to go in that direction. Now, in selecting where we will need to deploy the use cases or in selecting the use cases, this is the activity that we see needs to take place in this preparatory action. We know perfectly well that it's not our 100 million euro overall that will allow to buy 100 vehicles for Oslo, 100 vehicles for whatever other city. I mean, we're far from the kind of money that would allow that. What we hope is that if there is really an interest across the EU to go in this direction, like it's happening already in the US and so on, there is other funding that is coming in from other sources, that there is industry with sufficient size that is willing to take the risk and because they see a possible interest in putting some money in certain areas because they see the projection of a possible profit making in the long term. But this cannot only be done with public funding. Public funding will never amount to a size that would allow for that kind of pilot deployment, especially if we've got to cover logistics, if we've got to cover multiple sites across Europe, if we've got to cover the passenger cars. It will never happen. We need a commitment, a sharing of the risk, which needs to be translated in putting money on the table from multiple sources and from multiple kinds of entities, meaning industry, meaning public transport operators, and public authorities at local level and so on. We need to combine different kinds of funding instruments that are already there. We hope that maybe this can be combined also to the initiative that is now being launched across Europe. It was briefly mentioned, I think, in the discussion in these days, the IPCI, which should constitute another significant pot of funds for supporting the transition towards automation across the EU and looking specifically at piloting real deployment. So I agree with you, but we need to reach that objective, but it won't come only thanks to the funding that we will be putting on the table.
Yeah, and maybe I can add to that. Yes, thank you. So I guess your service is a rather kind of logistic service you would like to provide? No? So just maybe to distinguish between logistic and public transport.
This would be transporting people.
With 80 kilometers per hour in the city?
Yeah.
Okay.
China is doing it, US is doing it, and I totally don't expect the union to fund it fully. But I'm still missing the driver that can actually execute it, even if I had all of the money. And I do know the private investors that would support me.
I mean, the issue that I see, because, you know, Volkswagen is, for example, working on robotaxis. We will have them soon in Hamburg, also being available for a wider public. And the issue we see is not that the public sector is investing in the, for example, robotaxi application, but the other side that should buy the robotaxi and create the service and having a remote operation center and so on. So that is not very easy and cheap. Maybe in Oslo you are rich enough to do that, but other public transportation operators, they don't seem to have the money for this kind of investment. This is one of the issues I see.
Not wanting to monopolize this, but there are clear ways to make it a profitable business. We have done the numbers on that, so we know what needs to happen. It needs scale, it needs sharing. Falls well within public transit. If you go and talk to the public transit players in Europe, we know them well, we talk to many of them. Their biggest headache is that even if they have money, you don't have a capable enough digital driver in Europe available right now. If somebody could bring in a Chinese or an American one, we'd go operate tomorrow. But that brings us back to another discussion, another point.
Okay.
But hopefully I clarified your point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions from the audience? Because I have received here, we have a question. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to say maybe we can follow up on that, but it won't be tomorrow, not even with US or Chinese players. It won't be tomorrow.
Okay, we have a question here. Yeah, I mean, just... okay, thank you.
Hi, Wolfgang from Ruprecht Consult. Yeah, size matters. We discuss about large scale. It's clear we need larger fleets to show that it actually work. Yeah, in our environments and in Europe relevant environments. But the tipping point you mentioned, Andrea, is only coming if we also align it with large scale impact. So what is actually the impact you hope with your funding, your investment to get from these large-scale demos? And can you say already, will it follow the societal readiness logic, this large-scale demo?
I think that question was for me.
Yes.
What is the impact that we intend achieving? Well, again, we know that it's going to be a big project in terms of classical size of projects in the EU launched under Horizon Europe. Actually, we've got partnerships under Horizon Europe that have an overall value that is less than this single project that we will be launching. But we understand that this is peanuts in reality. So what do we want to achieve in terms of impact is to bring that this becomes our funding support, becomes the oil that allows all the relevant entities that are committed, that demonstrate a real initial commitment to go in this direction, to come to the table, and maybe through our funding we can support better the participation of those kind of entities for which it would be difficult to put together some proper funding in an initial phase of deployment. So I'm thinking, of course, more on the public side, on the academic side, and so on. we don't see this necessarily to directly support large industry, because this is not the purpose. We expect a contribution there from large industry. So our role there is really to create, actually through our funding, the environment that then can be the right place to deploy. I know it's fuzzy what I'm saying, because it's still very fuzzy in terms of concept. But what I want to make clear again is we don't believe that, oh, it's 100 million, you can do everything. No. It's just to create an environment, to put in place the favorable conditions for which then others can take the risk and put investment in to get to that tipping point. Of course, the societal readiness, now I read your question in terms of, let me put it another way. For sure, whatever we're doing needs to be societal driven. We are not speaking about, and we've said this I don't know how many times, simply replacing a vehicle that today is privately owned and human-driven with an automated vehicle. We're speaking about a transition to a new form of mobility, where multimodal is something that is very important, where new needs where shared mobility services, especially in urban environment, will be characterizing this new mobility environment. And how do we understand what is the future mobility environment? It's by understanding what society is actually asking for. And I think that competitiveness, which is our big driver. Everyone's read the Draghi report. Everyone's seen the automotive action plan that we've recently published, where it's all about supporting the competitiveness of the automotive industry in Europe. Competitiveness can go hand in hand with societal drive. The two dimensions do not compete one with the other. It's not that if you have one, you don't have the other. They need to go hand in hand. They can go hand in hand. It requires a change of mentality by all. But this is also what we are trying to achieve. And this is also what we try to achieve through our funding, because we set the boundaries. We will ensure the funding as long as it has still this strong societal drive.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I would like also to add something to this, because it's important. So the funding, 100 million, and then the additional part from the industry also will lead to a project that is almost $250 million. So we have never had such a project in place. But one thing that I would like to underline is that the big industry is not there for the money. So you may not believe it. These 250 millions, compare it with the budgets and the money we are spending every year on the research and development. You can have a look at the ASEA page and you will see how many billions we are spending there. For me, and this is why I'm doing this kind of projects since 17 years, is a platform for the collaboration. And I love it, because you can really discuss with other partners, smaller, bigger, and so on, and just agree how to proceed. And this is, I think, very important. So if we don't have any other questions, this is exactly 1920. And I would like to thank all of you for being here. I don't want to be blamed that you have not got enough sandwiches downstairs, and would like to thank all the panelists. I should do something.
Not yet.
No.
Time for dinner.
Oh,
we
have another half an hour.
Everyone is still a prisoner in this room.
Oh, yes, you had. Yeah, okay, thank you. Big thank to panelists and everyone who was staying with us, and now the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Before we leave for dinner, we have 2 moments. First of all, I announced that at the end of this session, we will go all together in that direction to take a group picture downstairs. But before that, I would really like to have the privilege and the pleasure to give a couple of minutes to our local authorities who supported the organization of this event. You have seen the organization is not only prepare the program, but is also the demo. It is also organization of transport. So we really counted and needed the support of the site management, of the GRC, and of the local authority of the Ispra municipality. So I have the pleasure to have here for a short address Rims Schneider, who is the site, the director of the site of the GRC Ispra site, and Rita Di Spiritu, who is the mayor of the Ispra municipality. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. I was also instructed, Rien, please make it a light speech, because the people are tired. They want to go for a dinner. They want to go for a drink. So I'm going to do my best, okay? But please stay with me. So it is really a great pleasure for me, and I want to thank you for joining us on the Ispra side for this very, very important event. As you heard yesterday in the opening session, the site has a very long history. It opened in the beginning of the year 60s, when the first Italian nuclear reactor was passed over to Euratom. And yesterday, when I was listening to the plenary session, I was thinking about this picture over here. What you see over here is very close to the site, a transport of an IBM mainframe, which came to this site in the frame of the research for the nuclear reactor, the European nuclear reactor. That was the mainframe 7090, some of you might be familiar, which was a very, very advanced facility. And you can see it was a very rural area in that period. There were no asphalted roads. It was completely a different story over there. And I was thinking about this picture because exactly that very, very advanced facility in that time, at the beginning of the year 60s, went into this building. This building was the calculation center, it was called, because computer, we didn't use the word, because English was not an official language at that moment of the European Commission of Euratom. And actually, this building was one of the first buildings built under the Euratom program. One of the first permanent buildings. So the use of the building changed over the time. And you can see that we renovated a couple of years ago and we made it very difficult for the architects. We want to make a conference center out of it, where we are hosting you at this moment. So really the Ispra site developed a lot over the 60 years. And so was also the research. We moved from nuclear into other areas of supporting the EU policies. And your area is one of those areas. So you see really the big change. Many things have changed during those years, those more than 60 years. But what did not change was the spirit of science, the international collaboration, the open exchanges, the work with the stakeholders. And that is exactly the spirit and the principles of the EUCAD conference. And it's for that reason that we are very proud to host you on our Ispra site. So once more, thanks a lot for joining us during these days. When I was asked to give this speech, to make it a little bit light, I asked how long can I speak? And I was told, Rien, you can speak how long you want, but note, that the buses are going to leave at 9 o'clock. So in case you don't want to stand here alone, it's better that you hurry up. And it reminded me of a friend of mine. He was invited for a keynote lecture at a very important event. He is arriving over there, the organizers are coming, and he's brought into a room. There's just one person sitting over there. So my friend is a little bit surprised and saying, did you bring me to the right room? Yes, this is the right room. But did you announce that I was going to speak? No, we did not. but apparently, the news went ahead of it, and you see the result. But there was one person sitting over there. The story continues a little bit. He told me that story. Because there was one person sitting over there. So at a certain moment, he was asked, yeah, please give your speech. So he gave the speech. And that lady, sitting over there, the only person, except for the organizer, of course, she also asked a question. So he was very happy about it, a little bit strange, only one person, etc. So at the end, he went to the lady and said, listen, I will give you my card. I want to thank you really a lot for the interaction. I was so happy that at least you were there. So in case I can do something for you in the future, let me know. And she said, yes, you can do me a pleasure. And that is, please stay, because I'm the next speaker. So I want to start, I want to hurry up, because, okay, the time is ticking. We want to go for the picture, I heard. We want to go for the dinner. So I want to acknowledge a couple of things. So first, you can imagine that I want to acknowledge the organizing committee for giving me this time slot and not being alone. So thanks a lot for that one. More seriously, I want to thank the organizing committee of EUCAD for organizing this conference over here, for the courage and for the trust. And I hope that we fulfilled it, and I hope that you're coming back. I had some other jokes in case I did not hear the applause. So I think, it was really a great opportunity for us to organize it, but I can tell you, it was also a tremendous work. But what I enjoyed a lot was the teamwork between the scientific policy colleagues and the site management colleagues. So I want to call, I want to take the benefit of it. And I want to call upon here, Biagio, please join me. And I also want to ask Paolo Costello, who promised me to be here, but I don't see him. He is hiding, yes. Paolo, yes, please join me. So, Biagio, sorry, so he really took the lead in the organization from the scientific policy point of view, collaborating with the other DCs, etc. And really, I think you did a tremendous job. And really, let's give him a warm applause. So, Paolo Costello, don't worry. No. Okay. So, Paolo Costello is my right-hand man. And I'm right-handed, so you can imagine what it means. And he coordinated all the colleagues on the site management part. So I just want to mention over there the areas, because I think the colleagues went the extra mile. You agree on that, Paolo? So I want to acknowledge the work of the colleagues in the area of safety and security. We had some headaches, notably with some of the demos, but I'm very happy to see that we managed it. The logistical people, notably the people taking care of your transport or trying to take care of your transport, and the conference services, the infrastructure colleagues, but last and not least, the catering, because we're all thinking about the drinks later on and the food. So thanks all to those colleagues. Thank you. I was talking about things which did not change over the years, the science, etc. Another thing which did not change, and you have to know that this area is quite a particular area. It's a diplomatic area, so we're outside of the Italian territory. And for us, it's crucial to work together with the authorities of the host countries, They helped a lot in organizing this event. The local police, the Carabinieri, you might have seen them, took a very important action to take care of your safety and security. And I'm very happy to have over here, we had today the possibility to show some of the authorities, including the mayor of Ispra, to have a tour around the site and to see the demos. And I can tell you they were very, very impressed. And I was also very, very happy to see in the local press not only the problems with Mr. Trump, the terrible incidents in different parts of the world, the fact that the stock exchange in Milan yesterday went up with 0.47%, but they also spoke about EUCAD and about the work which you are doing to make society a better society. So thanks a lot to all of you. So with this, I want to leave the floor to the mayor of Ispra. And I've asked her to give this special flavor to us and to speak in Italian. It will be very, very short. Yeah? So I want to say, enjoy your last day of the conference tomorrow. Enjoy the dinner and the group picture. I shouldn't forget that. Yeah. And again, I want to thank you very warmly for joining us on the ISPA side. Thank you for making the effort.
Buonasera a tutti, come ringrazio direttore Rin, ringrazio tutto lo staff e tutti gli organizzatori e soprattutto ringrazio voi qui presenti in Italia, al GRC italiano, nel nostro paese ISPRA, che qui ho l'onore di rappresentare e che attraverso la mia presenza porta tutti i saluti calorosi e affettuosi a tutti voi. Vi ringraziamo di cuore e ringraziamo anche la comunità europea per aver scelto il sito del GRC di ISPRA per offrirci questa possibilità importantissima sul nostro territorio proprio italiano ma anche locale su ISPRA. Per noi è veramente un momento emozionante, profondamente importante, perché tutti i nostri discorsi internazionali, europei, per noi oggi, anche attraverso questa esperienza, questo congresso internazionale e comunque mondiale, dicevamo con il direttore Rin, tutta il nostro dialogare diventa un'azione concreta, diventano fatti, diventano momenti importanti per le nostre future generazioni e anche per noi amministratori che dobbiamo governare un paese nella quotidianità ma con uno sguardo sul futuro, e il futuro siete voi, e per questo io vi faccio un applauso e vi chiedo un applauso. Perché per noi avervi qui è veramente un onore, un grandissimo onore, e tutto quello che rappresentate nel vostro quotidiano, nelle vostre nazioni e nel vostro lavoro qui oggi si concretizza grazie anche a, permettetemi di dire con affetto, anche a un direttore che ci crede con tutto il suo staff in questa aprirsi al mondo, perché noi in questo momento ci celebriamo, ma stiamo celebrando le vostre intelligenze, le vostre ricerche e soprattutto stiamo celebrando quello che il mondo sarà grazie a voi, anche grazie a voi, in questo presente, ma soprattutto nel nostro futuro. Quindi è veramente per il nostro territorio veramente un momento fondamentale, è uno di quei momenti che rimarrà nella storia. E quindi nel momento in cui oggi vi salutiamo con grande affetto e grande stima, veramente noi immortaliamo per il nostro paese di ISPRA, abbiamo qua anche il vice sindaco e il comandante della polizia locale che rappresentano, anche sindaco di un altro paese, che rappresentano una parte importante di questa amministrazione, di questo territorio. E questo fatto per noi diventa sempre più importante lasciarlo alla futura memoria, e quindi da questo momento per noi diventa ancora più importante la collaborazione col GRC. Abbiamo iniziato molto bene, ci conoscevamo, ma non pensavo veramente di dovermi trovare, ringrazio ancora davvero il direttore di cuore, in una situazione che mi anche commuove molto, e mi scuso se non ho preparato un intervento in inglese, la prossima volta vi assicuro, fra 2 anni vi aspettiamo e quindi ritroverete un perfetto inglese e quindi, oppure la lingua che sarà, perché chi lo sa quale sarà la prossima lingua che ci aiuterà a comunicare. Termino, non ho letto una parola del mio intervento, ecco, sono andata totalmente a braccia, mi sono lasciata guidare dalle emozioni e dalla bellezza, permettetemi di usare questo termine che mi rappresenta, davvero rappresenta il mio cuore e rappresenta la nostra amministrazione. È veramente meraviglioso trovarsi il mondo qui. Che dire, oltre a dire grazie, thank you, non saprei cosa dire oltre, ma possiamo soltanto invitarvi a ritornare anche come ospiti, come turisti. Il nostro paese non è grandissimo, ma è molto bello, direi bellissimo, e quindi vi offre anche delle possibilità. Spero abbiate avuto il tempo di visitare un pezzo della nostra sponda, anche il paese di Rin, anche il paese degli altri sindaci presenti. È un territorio che offre molta bellezza, un po' poca tecnologia, ma ha bisogno di tanta sostenibilità, e quindi oltre a essere invitati da turisti vi invitiamo anche come ricercatori ad aiutarci a governare con quello sguardo e con quel futuro sulla sostenibilità che può salvare davvero e fare la differenza nel nostro mondo, che ne ha veramente bisogno. Veramente vi abbraccio tutti, permettete. Grazie di cuore e grazie a chi ci ha invitato e che è sempre così gentile, non solo perché sono una donna, ma anche per questo immagino, ma perché ci crede profondamente. Quindi facciamo un applauso ancora al dottor Rin, perché è allo Strasnal, e agli altri ricercatori, e anche a voi un altro applauso che facciamo noi come amministratori a voi. Grazie di cuore, benvenuti e buon lavoro, e viva l'Europa, viva il mondo e viva anche ISPRA.
Thank you very much. And now we go to the picture. So on that side, we go down from the stairs and we take a group picture.